Two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are continuing our holiday journey into this festive new year as we are finishing up our Christmas holiday movies. And Kroll decided to have us go along with a classic Christmas a movie. So why don't we take it over to Kroll and Kroll? What movie did you have us watch for this week?
Well, I decided to go with Die Hard, and for anyone that says it's not a Christmas movie, it certainly is. It's all set around a Christmas party. Thank you very much. So of course it stars Bruce Willis, um, Alan Rickman, and what IMDb says about it, a New York City police officer tries to save his estranged wife and several others taken hostage by terrorists during a Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles.
And
Tell us, Dave, who directed Die Hard?
well, it is directed by John McTiernan, which, if any of you know John McTiernan, he directed the original Predator, among
Ooh.
many other films. Uh, uh, this particular film was filmed in 1988, and it was written by Jeb Stewart and Stephen E. D'Souza. It is based on a 1979 novel that was written by Roderick Thorpe, which, if anyone knows anything about Roderick Thorpe, he actually wrote a 1966 novel called The Detective, which was turned into a 1968 movie with Frank Sinatra, starring the name of the detective that was used in the uh, book that this was based off of, which was Nothing Lasts Forever. And the thing about Nothing Lasts Forever is that it was also um, done on Christmas Eve. But the woman that was involved in the story was, in fact, the detective's daughter, and she ultimately died in the whole thing. The building that was involved was not owned by a Japanese a person. It was in fact owned by an oil company, and
Hmm.
they were. And the novel was definitely more sadder and more bloodier than supposedly this was. Yeah, that's um, I did want to say one thing. Bonnie Bedelia, um, who played uh, Bruce Willis's wife in here, um, she
Holly.
her last name is McCullen, which she is brother to Kit McCullen, who is the father of Macaulay, Rory, and Kieran McCullen, which you might know as Macaulay Culkin. He was in Home Alone. So,
Oh.
and so on and so forth. So, there is definitely some interesting, you know, characters involved in here. And Alan Rickman, well, we know him to eventually star in Galaxy Quest. Also, he played the sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and then later he played to bewitch the minds uh, uh,
Uh,
in Harry Potter as uh,
Professor Snape.
Professor Snape. Correct. Um,
Yeah,
but
I was about to say shame on you. You forgot Snape.
he is now deceased, unfortunately.
Yes.
Other than that, I'll leave this over to you, Cole. Take us forward.
Well, I would like to start with our first impressions. So, let's go ahead and start with Boris. Is this your first time watching Die Hard?
Much to my shame, yeah, it was my first time. I have heard about this movie, of course, but somehow never got around to watching it before. But now I did, and it was really good. I normally when I pick movies to watch for myself, this is not the genre I usually go for, but yeah, good thing I have you guys to make me watch some stuff I wouldn't have checked out on my own otherwise, because this movie was quite enjoyable with enough suspense, a little bit of humor, and quite a lot of good spoodaus.
Yep, I was thinking that. I'm like, yeah, these are enough cigars for Boris here.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I was thinking as I was watching it again. I'm like, yep, there's enough cigars in this one for Boris.
Yeah, you know me well enough when it comes to those things.
Well, I
Now,
did want.
now you can turn around and watch the rest of the movies in the
Oh,
franchise.
you mean the rest of this franchise?
Yes.
It's a possibility.
Was it five total or six total?
I
Oh,
believe there were six.
wow.
Because you have to remember, I believe there was a remake as well.
Well,
Is
what? No, no,
is
Wait,
remakes don't count.
no.
The fuck?
I'm thinking about a different remake. Bruce Willis starred in a remake of Death Wish. Sorry.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say nobody. There's no remake for Die Hard.
No,
uh,
pretty sure that there are either five or six, and the last one starts someone as like his son or something like that. But
Yeah, it was good.
what
um,
in one of the later movies they killed the main character.
No,
the guy
Oh,
who played
okay.
Carl, Alexander Godunov, he didn't last long in film history, but he actually for much of his life was a ballet dancer. Um, it's just they kept sticking him in bad guy roles or ballet roles or whatnot, and um, he also spent like 9 years living with Jacqueline Bisset, which Jacqueline Bisset, I think one of the roles that I remember her in was in the corny version of the 007 movie Casino Royale with Peter Sellers. So, um, but yeah, in fact, he lived with her up until he was doing this a movie, if I'm not mistaken. And the guy who played his brother, he was actually in a James Bond movie called the Living Daylights as one of the bad guys. The tall, skinny guy with glasses.
are you done with your first impression, Boris?
I think so.
Tammy, was this your first time watching Die Hard?
I might have seen it once before. Didn't. I didn't get into the all of them or whatever. So I know I didn't watch any of the other ones either. But it was all right. I mean, I don't know. It just, I don't know what it was. I just didn't get interested in them. I mean, it's not saying that the movie wasn't good. The movie was good. It just wasn't something that caught my attention. So, but I it's not because of the acting or anything like that. It just, I don't know. It's just something about it. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But I didn't mind watching it if this was, and I would probably, if it was on, watch it again. It just not something that grabs my attention. So
Okay. And Dave?
Well, I got into this movie because my dad. He likes this movie, and I liked watching it. And it didn't dawn on me that it was a Christmas movie until I started bonding with some of the other film guys in my group, and they all believe, and a lot of film lovers believe that this was a Christmas movie. And at first, I was like, hemming and hawing whether it was or wasn't. But there's actually enough Christmas stuff going on in here that it can be called a Christmas movie, because it's set, in Christmas. It's got some Christmas themes going on. So, and it's got some music that is behind it that is Christmassy. So,
Yeah.
so for the action guys and gurus, I remember this being on Bravo TV a lot and TNT, and they often played the trilogy together, kind of like they did like Back to the Future, except this one has more in its franchise. So, um, it's spawned a franchise, and it's actually a pretty decent franchise, I think. I mean, each of
Speaking
them.
of that, did you hear there's a Back to the Future 4 with Tom Holland?
That is debatable. It's just a trailer that was spawned to make you think that it's going to be created, but it was fan made. There isn't going to be a Back to the Future 4. No, even though that trailer does really look fucking good. But
Certainly looks the part.
it does look the part. It's just it's not happening, and fans want it to happen. It's not. So, but that being said, I enjoy the bad guys in here. I enjoy the action, and maybe the fall at the end doesn't entirely hold up because you can see behind it that, that you know it's not as real, but at the time that perspective, and you got to enjoy the fact that even before he goes and meets up with his wife, he's checking out all the single girls, so but in any case, that is my first impressions of the film. I enjoyed watching it again, and definitely one of those on the action scale that I think just built over time, over the span of the franchise. So I also remember vividly playing the PlayStation game because they actually made
My name is Frank Kern, and this is
an actual gun for I think once you pass the first, because it was the Die Hard trilogy. Once you got to the third game, you needed this specific gun, and I was playing off of a friend's PlayStation, and he had the gun and everything, and it was cool. So, other than that, Heading over to you, Kroll.
That your end of your first impression?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, obviously, this is not my first time watching it. It's actually one of the first movies I've ever owned. I owned this and the second one. At the time, I think there was only the two out. Um, so yeah. I seen this when it first came out. I absolutely loved it, and of course, I always repeated, yippee motherfucker. That is the standout line from that movie, in my opinion. There's some great lines, but that is just a standout one, and I absolutely love it. And yeah, so to me, this movie grabs my attention from the get go. Um, First he's on a plane and obviously really nervous, and he learns a trick that will help him, and of course doesn't think anything of it until he actually does try it a little bit later in the movie and says, "Hey, son of a bitch, it works."
It's funny. That's the scene that
um,
we
so
recorded.
yeah.
It's funny. We
Um,
recorded Die Hard, and they didn't show the part where he actually curled his toes and tried that out. And yet they left the guy commenting in the very beginning. They didn't show that part.
that's weird.
Huh.
Well, on the version that I saw, we do see that. So yeah, they the movie, like I said, starts there, and of course he is going to Los Angeles from New York to visit his wife, who up and took his kids and moved there for a better career opportunity. Now they aren't divorced; they're still married. I don't even think they're actually technically separated. Of course they're separated, but legally, I don't think they were. They never said. But he said he called her his wife, and she still said it's her husband. So yeah. Uh, Obviously they had some issues because they lived on opposite sides of the country. But anyways, so that's where he's going there to visit with his family from New York, and he is a New York City police officer. Um, so he gets, he's off the plane and immediately meets Argyle, who is his limo driver, and of course, and he's like, "So what do we do now?" And Argyle's like, "I was hoping you'd tell me. This is my first time driving a limo." And John McClane said, "That's okay. It's his first time riding in one." So now you see him riding in the front of the limo, and I'm like, "You're supposed to be in the back, dude." The bear that he bought is, I assume his daughter. I don't know why he didn't buy his son anything, but that's kind of a small thing that I think they kind of missed out. That you see him carrying a bear, and unless the bear's both kids, but yeah, yeah, it's one person, two kids. Um,
Huh. Yeah, interesting.
yeah, yeah. So, anyways, so I was talking to him and asking him all kinds of questions, and he obviously doesn't want to answer. Um, then I go, let's put on some music, and they put on the music, and yeah, he's like, can we listen to Christmas music? And like, it doesn't have Christmas music, and then we hear Run MC play, playing a Christmas song. Um, so, anyways, we get to the talk a moment, talk talk a moment. I can't talk. Talk movie building, and he lets him off and says, I'll hang out in the garage in case you need to go to a hotel. and he goes in and meets the his wife's boss, and meets up with her, and meets Ellis, who's in his wife's office, doing coke. um,
Yeah, he's
yeah,
a particular sleazeball, isn't he?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Ellis, and Holly comes in, and they hug, and um, he wants to clean up, and they're talking, and she's like, "I miss you," and then he goes right into, like, she missed my last name, and they start arguing, and they get interrupted from the argument, and she has to go give a speech, and he's kind of berates himself in the mirror for you know starting an argument already. um, and he calls Argyle, and Argyle's like, "Oh, so are you good?" And he's like, "Well, that's you know, jury's still out on that, because she did invite him, but then he kind of started an argument right away, so." um, he's not sure where exactly he stands on that. Uh, what do you guys think of the beginning scene so far?
Well, as far as him getting the limo to show up at the wife's thing, I think that's not something that he expected, but it was a thing that the uh, was a courtesy that was given to him by his wife's boss. It's funny how she claims that in this business they don't exactly like looking at women that are married, and yet it's the boss that sends the limo car, and he knows that he's like her husband and all that jazz.
Oh, yeah, I must admit I was a little confused what that was all about.
But I think that Mr. Nakatoa, or Mr. Taki, or whatever his name is. I'm sorry if I get his name wrong, but it's hard to remember his particular name. But
Tacoma, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
Tacoma.
Nakatomi is the building, and Tacoma is his name.
Okay, yeah.
Takagi is the name.
He seems like he's a nice Japanese businessman, man, especially when he's the first one who, like, he comes across and recognizes who he is. So to me, I thought for being like this high executive businessman, he's very approachable.
Yeah, he
You
seemed
Yeah,
very nice guy. He seemed like a nice guy.
know, which
uh,
is kind of sad because he's the one that ultimately dies first. So
yeah.
no. It's the security guard that gets killed.
Oh yeah,
Ah,
yeah. Technically, the
yeah.
both security guards uh get killed first, but yeah, he's the first of the hostages, because
Uh,
technically he was taken hostage first before he was killed. The security guards were never taken hostage; he was just killed.
But yeah, so apparently, let's see the and and Argyle. I thought that he was great to have in there because he's like a comic relief. And throughout almost the entire thing, he's doing his own thing, and he's oblivious to everything that's going on. At least up
Yeah,
until the
yeah.
end.
It's pretty funny. I love when he finally realizes what's going on. He's just like
Well,
he
he actually
yeah.
starts playing rap music over the over the mic systems, just to fuck with them, you know.
yeah.
I love when he actually takes action and rams
Theo,
the van and gets out and punches the guy out.
Theo actually plays in Walker Texas Ranger later on.
Well,
This is like one of his first roles. This is even before he was on Texas Ranger, but he plays the sidekick of Walker Texas Ranger in the original TV series.
oh, does he?
Right alongside Chuck Norris. Yeah. So it was interesting to see him in this role, and he's kind of a comic relief too, because after he's like the computer guy, the techie. Oh, there is a moment while they're trying to take over the building. The one guy's trying to oh yeah, he is trying to tie the wires shut to something, and the one guy takes a chainsaw and just takes out the whole thing, and he's like, "Why the fuck did you do that? I was doing just fine,"
Well, he seemed to still continue to like he seemed like he finished doing what he was doing. So I don't know exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I don't know either. But whatever happened there, it took out like all communications and it stopped everything. Oh, and they battened down the building because evidently there is a electronic thing where all the gates can shut at once, all the doors can lock, all that jazz. But take us forward, Crow. I don't want to take too much credit.
Yeah. So we find out that that they cut out the communication. He was in the middle of talking to Argyle, and who didn't think nothing of it when he just suddenly got disconnected. He's like, oh well, he's got a phone, he can use it, and then he goes back to partying in the limo while he waits. Well, his boss thinks he's on to Las Vegas, I guess. So yeah.
Oh,
What happened?
lost it for a moment. I don't know what happened, but from Argyle, it's right around this time that you start hearing gunshots in the background, and that's when uh, he notices that all these gunmen are coming in, and he watches a lot of people are being paraded out to the main common area where he had come in at, and he ends up watching everyone get pulled into that room. And as they are coming towards the room, I think he finds a way to get to an elevator that takes them to like this level where it looks like it's still being worked on, and vice versa. It's an unfinished building. To be honest. So, um, what do y'all think about this whole takeover process, Cammy?
Well, they just they came in and they took over. I mean, um, there really isn't that much to say.
What about you, Boris? What did you think
Uh,
about this takeover?
yeah, for a moment I was kind of wondering what was going on there, but yeah, then I figured out they were just some bad guys being after money, actually kind of similar to those in Violent Night, which we discussed last time.
Well, it's not
Uh,
just money. It's actually money before it's money. It's all these bonds that are like locked up in a safe, and they're already ready to use. They just have to be signed over or whatnot. It's like I forget how much he said it was, but at that point in time when he
Mm,
said like 100,
I think he said $600 million,
That's
if
what
I
I think he
remember.
said too. Because later on in the movie, he's like, he asked him why he had to do such a big production. He goes, "Well, I could have just done the 6 million and been done with it." He goes, "But for 600 million, you know, I had to. That's why I had to do all this, you know."
we're talking about the reason why the gunmen and the Hans and everyone came for these bonds, uh, and he said there were like 600 million of them or whatnot. So um, that's what they came for.
Yeah,
And there
$600 million worth of bonds. Yeah.
yep, and uh, as we know, because of the tech guy, there are 7 security locks on this motherfucker. And he can get through 6 of them, but the other one had to be taken care of like from somewhere else.
Yeah, he said it can't be cut. Of course, Han's like, I have that covered, and he's a bit skeptical, but he's like, okay, I hope you do, or it's all for naught, um, and yeah. So, anyways, we have the communications cut. The bad guys have everybody lined up in the main room where the party was going on. Even the couple that were having sex, and we see a very glimpse of the girl with her top off and screaming. Somehow they managed to not locate John McClane. He snuck out and was running upstairs, so they do not know that there was a cog in their wheel. They're a pain in the ass, as he calls himself. Um, so yeah, he ends up running into one guy, and they fight, and they fall downstairs as he's has him in a chokehold, and ends up breaking his neck. And of course, he was getting washed up, so he doesn't even have a shirt on. He has a t-top and no socks or shoes. Um, and he tries to take shoes from the bad guy, and evident for some reason, this is the only bad guy he tries to take the shoes from, or at least if he tries to take them from anyone else, he doesn't.
Of
They
course,
don't, they don't mention it. But he says, his luck. He kills, the one terrorist that has feet smaller than his little sister, so he can't wear those shoes. This comes in play later. Um, on with him not wearing shoes. So he kills the first guy and decides to put him in a chair in the elevator, and
right.
cleverly sends the guy downstairs to the where the party's at, and they get to see their friend, and he wrote them a message. Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho.
Uh, oh yeah, I have to admit, even though he is the good guy, Bruce Willis's character, I have to admit his act there kind of reminded me of Hannibal Lecter and the corpse he left in the elevator.
Yeah. So now they're on to him, and one guy says, we got to do something. He goes, yes, we have to tell Carl that his brother's dead. And then of course he wants to go after him and kill him. He's like, we stick to the plan, and he's like, well, what if he messes up the plan? Basically. um and then they find out that he goes and uh, calls the fire department, and and they of course call the fire department back, shut off the alarm, and tell them, oh, it was just an alarm, false alarm going off. And he's just like, what the fuck? And then he when after he kills the first guy, he gets um a walkie-talkie. So the I'm calling the fire department was actually before he killed the first guy. I forgot. And then he ends up going to the roof, and he calls the 911 dispatch center with the stupidest uh, manager, supervisor, whatever that you can fucking possibly imagine, because she keeps berating him for calling, for talking to that over that line because it's for emergencies, and she's telling her that there's terrorists taking over a fucking building with 30 hostages, but that's not she doesn't seem to be listening to that. She's like, if you don't get off this line, I'll report you. He's like, fucking report me, come down here and arrest me right now. Just send the police. But then she hears obviously gunshots. I don't think she knows what the fuck it is. I mean, she's just completely untrained or what? Just the stupidest person in the world, I swear. She's like, send a car over to check it out. Like, what the fuck? Um, and he looks over at the bill. He's buying Twinkies, and then he comes up. The cops they call, and this is of course he played in Family Matters as the dad, he was a cop in that too. But he looks over the building. You actually can see the machine gun going off on the roof. The firepower, of course. He sees the lights, but he doesn't realize what it is. Um, and then he goes in and he goes over to check it out, and of course he doesn't really see anything that's going on, and he's gonna leave. And Bruce Willis had already kind of busted part of a window, and at this point he killed two more people, I believe. And when the cop's gonna leave, he's like, oh hell no. So he ends up tossing one of the bodies out the window and then shooting at the cop car. So um, the cop is like driving backwards and going crazy. He ends up crashing his car with a big splow.
Oh yeah.
Manages to get out bruised up and cut. And he's yelling for backup. So we had the police coming pretty early on. Not that they were any help at all.
Yeah,
They're
that was my thought. The police was there just to avoid the plot hole of them not being there.
Yeah,
But
yeah, the police were very. I mean, now Al, that's who the cop was Al. He was very supportive, and he was very intuitive, and he probably should have been a detective. He was certainly better than the
The doofus
deputy
that was
dude,
there.
Deputy Doolittle. Um,
definitely.
uh,
Officer Doofy, as we would like to call him.
I like to call
Goofy.
him Deputy Doolittle. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the scenes so far? The first kill and the next ones and stuff.
I thought the
uh,
first kill was great. What about you, Boris?
when he broke this guy's neck,
Yes.
uh, yeah, that was really good. I liked the fight, and then when he grabbed him and they fell down the stairs together, but since he was holding his neck, I guess he broke it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a really good down, and I liked how he delivered his corpse to show what he was capable of. And
Yeah.
yeah, the uh, the body falling out through the window on the cop's car. That was also a great spoodow.
Yeah. At one point, he starts talking on the radio. Han's like, I'd said no radio silence, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I must not got that message." And um, Hans basically tells him, that he's not going to win, and he's gonna stop playing cowboy, and John's like, "Yippee ki motherfucker!" That's the first time he says the line, as in, he's a cowboy and he's gonna continue to be so. Um, and at one point he says, he stopped trying to play John Wayne, and then he picked I said a couple other names, and he said, John's like, I always preferred Roy Rogers. Um, as a matter of fact, when Al asked his name, he's like, not yet, but you can call me Roy. Um, uh, because he didn't want the bad guys knowing who he was, because he didn't want it to lead back to his wife, at some point. Um, now, uh, he ends up continuing, being a cog in the wheel, and fucking things up for the bad guys, and of course,
Also, this reporter who kind of gets a little bit too nosy. He overhears
yeah, actually, that's not yet though.
when Carl gets called in. That's when he starts to pay attention, though. He actually overhears the call in, so he shows up to the building because of that call in. But that scene actually happens while Carl is being called to the building. So
Who's Carl?
The guy that plays that I know him as Carl Malone in Family Man.
Carl was the
Winslow.
name of Carl was the name of the brother of the first guy
Yeah,
who
I
got
was
killed.
thinking about the guy who plays the cop who's being called in.
Ah,
His name is Al.
But
You're thinking of Carl Winslow from Family
yes,
Matters.
Carl Winslow. Yes.
ah.
So yeah, that's why you screwed me up, because I'm like, who the hell is Carl? Okay, so Al, you mean? Uh, anyways, yeah, no, the reporter didn't catch on to that until Carl. Now I'm calling him Carl. Al called it in and said he was being shot at, and they called the police and everything, and that's when the douchebag reporter heard it, and he got the station to give him a van, because he said he was stealing it. They don't give him one. You can tell that even his coworkers don't really respect him, and uh, yeah, he's just a douche. Um, anyways, so uh, where were we? Um, Yeah, he continues to be a cog in the wheel of the bad guys, and Alice finds out from Holly that it's her husband. So at one point he decides that he's going to go in and negotiate things, and he ends up just getting himself killed. And of course the deputy dipshit down there uh said, "Oh, you see that? He just let him die. He didn't do anything about it." And blah blah blah. Like, he had he tried to tell him to get the fuck out of there and to stop doing what he was doing. But yeah, he's just kind of thinks he's all that, and he got himself killed. So he was the second hostage that was killed. Um, but he did it himself.
Yep.
Um, you know, trying to play the hero. Of
Well,
course, he does let the bad guys know John's name, and then it's John McClane, and blah blah blah, and so but he did not give up Holly. So he wasn't trying to give too. He gave some information enough to be credible, but he was trying to help. He was stupid, but he was trying to help. But of course, his stance before
John,
that was
John
let.
McClane was not going to give in. We knew that.
But before that, he was like saying that John's gonna get them killed. That they just need to cooperate, and they'll all be out of it. Yeah, they're alive, and of course, Holly's like, tell that to Kami or the boss that they had killed. Um, so uh, we end up the FBI ends up showing up, and of course, then they take over from Deputy Dipshit. Um, and I don't know what we want to call them, but yeah, these guys are. I think the Deputy Dipshit might have been better than them. Uh, um, oh yeah, at one point they Deputy Dipshit sent some guys in to infiltrate, and of course they got shot at, and some were shot. I don't think any of them were killed, but I love at one point they're like, "Oh, they're shooting at him." They're not, and Al's like, "They're shooting at the lights," and then the deputy dipshit's like, "Oh, they're shooting at the lights," and the way he says it, like he just thought of it. And you see Al just roll his eyes like, and you're in charge. Like he's just a complete idiot. But anyway, now the FBI shows us they could really foul things up. And do exactly what Hans wants them to do by cutting off the power because they finally get to the last lock, and the only way for that possibly to get through that lock is for the power to be off, which can't be cut from the building, but can be cut by the electric company. So the FBI and even Al's like it's like they have the terrorist playbook and they're playing it they're playing it by uh they're,
The
they're
book.
perfectly playing the handbook. That was another funny line. And of course so the terrorists decide that, or Hans decides he's gonna contact the FBI and tell them his demands because they're really not terrorists; they're just thieves, And um, so they make up this list of people they want to be released, and even his own guy was like, "Who?" He's like, "I read about it in Time magazine." Uh, so he's just trying to
Oh,
just stall them. Um, and yeah, uh, and then of course we the uh, woman that works for the reporter finds out the wife's name and the family and blah blah blah. So he goes to the family, threatens to deport the nanny. And so he ends up going in and interviewing the kids, and Han sees this on TV, and he realizes that the woman he's talking to, the one he put. Oh yeah, there's a funny scene where she goes in and asks for a couple requests. She's like, "Who died and put you? Who the hell? Who put you in charge?" And he's like, "You did when you killed my boss." Oh yeah, he said, "What idiot put you in charge like you did?"
That was
um,
good.
Yeah, that was good. So of course she asked for to put the pregnant lady on a couch, and he said the other one brought out, and then she requests everyone go into the bathroom, and he grants that. So yeah. Anyways, so now he knows who John was there for with his wife, and he ends up taking her hostage. And now he sends all the other hostages up to the roof where they think they're going to be set free, but he plans to blow up the entire roof, including the helicopters that were coming, because he knew the helicopters weren't going to be to take them away to safety. They were going to try to kill them, whatever. And we have the FBI guys in the helicopter John shoots up in the sky trying to get all the people to get downstairs, for one, and two, for the helicopters to get away. Instead, the helicopters guys, the FBI guys, start shooting at John McClane. Because again, they're idiots. Anyway, they don't listen, and finally, John jumps off the roof with a fire hose wrapped around him, and we have a big, huge finale explosion.
Oh
And
yeah.
they uh, blow up the helicopters. And we have a nice scene where the helicopters crash and everything, and someone says, "What are we gonna
Oh,
do now?" or whatever. And Deputy Dipshit actually says one of the funniest lines in the movie, I think, and that is, "I guess we're gonna need a couple more FBI guys." And he says it nice and dry, but the way it's just the way he says it across. I don't know, I don't remember that line really before, but I watched it last night and I just laughed. I just laughed just the way he said it.
yeah.
I found it really funny. The way he said that we're gonna need a couple more FBI guys, and yeah. Uh, he ends up um shooting the window as he's smashing against it to uh go into the building. Um, yeah, there's another blow up actually before that I forgot about. He had dropped the explosives and monitors and a bunch of other stuff down the elevator shaft and blew up a big part of the building. And he almost blew himself up. He's watching as all of the flames are coming up the elevator shaft. He's like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, runs away. And of course, this is at that point, Deputy Dipshit, this is before the FBI showed up, tells him that he's going to be in big trouble because he just destroyed part of a building and blah blah blah. And he's like, so if I actually get out of here alive, I don't give a shit what you do to me. uh, you know, um, and it basically tells him off and tells him, put me on the other guy who's actually, useful. um,
Definitely.
so, what do we think of this scene where he's jumping off the building and it's blowing up and stuff, and the helicopters are blowing up?
Actually, that was one of the kind of scary scenes. Okay, not scary, but scary. It's scary to imagine being in a similar situation.
Yeah.
Well, that part happens in the book, where the detective actually jumps off the top of the building. But I love how Bruce Willis does this almost like a barefoot Contessa and with his shirt off almost the entire time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, did anyone else notice that at the beginning he was wearing a white undershirt, but later on it suddenly became this dark green color? How did that happen?
I did not see that. That didn't happen in what I saw.
Probably sweat, or he probably grabbed a shirt along the way.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
Uh,
What? Yeah, yeah. Like I said, there was kind of a slight plot hole that he never tried any more shoes. Because I did not mention that part. He ends up meeting up with Hans, and Hans acted like he was one of the hostages, and um, of course, Hans notices he doesn't have shoes on, and he hands him a gun, not loaded, but makes it seem like he's loaded. And of course, Hans tries to shoot him, and he's like, "It's not loaded. You think I'm stupid?" And then the other bad guys show up, and he's like, "You were saying?" So there's a big shootout, and he's like, "Shoot the glass." He says it in German. The guy like just looks at him, and then he just says exasperated, "Shoot the glass," and then he starts shooting the glass, of course, because John's fucking barefoot, and no shirt or anything. So,
which was a smart thing to do.
very smart, very very smart, because he's got to now run through fucking glass. And
And
you know,
Hans was able to throw his voice into a different accent, which is
oh
something.
yeah, when he pretended to be one of the hostages, he was American and no German accent or anything, and yeah, he did a great job. And yeah, John actually mentions that what a good job he did pretending to be an American. Um, yeah, uh, Alan Rickman is a great actor. Was a great actor, I should say. Um, but yeah,
Definitely.
so we we uh, we have all these explosions, and John is down in some kind of water, and there's another explosion, and he ends up saving Holly from Hans, and he ends up shooting Hans, and Hans goes out the window, but he has a hold of Holly, and he's holding on by her Rolex that she had gotten, and John lets the release go as Hans is trying to lift the gun up to shoot him, and I actually love this fucking scene. I absolutely love this scene of the look on his face as he's um, about to fall down. I mean, his look of "I'm gonna kill you now" with his putting the gun up, and all of a sudden, he's free falling, and the whole spit out and Deputy Dipshit says, "Oh, I hope that wasn't a hostage." And you kind of hear like a bang of the like a thud in the
uh,
background, and
I
then of course Holly and John come out, and you know they with Al. Now, at some point, Al said he wasn't on the street anymore because he accidentally shot a 13-year-old, and he couldn't live with that mistake, and so he took a desk job. Um, and the one of the Carl somehow was not dead, and still wanted revenge for his brother's death, and he gets up and he's gonna shoot them, and they like duck down, and Al shoots him, saving them. Puts 6 bullets into his chest.
Yeah, there
Um,
was an earlier story where Carl, or not Carl, Al was telling John McClane over the walkie-talkie that he actually had an incident where he actually
I
shot.
just said that, dude.
Yeah,
I just said that.
gotcha.
I said the reason why he wasn't on the road anymore, or beat jockey, why he was sitting in a desk, is because he couldn't live with the mistake he made of he killed a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah,
So, anyways, so that's pretty much the final scene. John and Holly do end up kissing. So you guess that they're kind of making up after everything, and then of course we have one final spit out, actually like right before the kill, and I think is one of my favorites. She goes over to the reporter, and he's like asking her questions, and she punches him in the nose, and you even hear his cameraman and a few people working with him laughing. and,
uh, yeah, that was
and of
good.
course, yeah, he says to
Uh,
the cameraman, "Did you get that?" And yeah.
Except for the fact that while I was watching the movie, my mother was there too, and when she had seen this movie before, and when this scene with the reporter was coming up, she said, "Oh no, that reporter is going to get his ass kicked." And when she said that, I expected something much more serious to happen. So when it turned out to be only a punch in the face, I was a little
Well,
disappointed.
oh, it did. She did make him bleed, and it's like, I don't know if she broke his nose, but it was a nice hit. But yeah, it wasn't he didn't exactly get his ass kicked, but he did get a nice bloody nose.
Uh, yeah, regarding the fact that he put the whole family in danger by
Yeah.
going
Well,
and filming
yeah,
the kids.
she got kidnapped because of him and stuff too. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I expected he would get a bigger portion of beating.
Yeah. So what do we think of the final scenes there, guys?
Well,
Oh,
I think Officer Dipshit shouldn't be any kind of an officer.
Oh,
Uh,
deputy dipshit.
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
That's a brilliant nickname. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing
I'm
at
glad
that.
that it was more of a wife than a daughter, because it's a little bit more relatable. That he was able to get back together with her at least by the end of that movie. I don't think he ends up staying with her throughout the franchise, though.
No,
No,
really.
because I was thinking of that, and like the final one, his son is very estranged and is very not happy with his dad, basically for never being around. So yeah, we actually never really hear like the whole story of that, but yeah. So yeah, if this franchise had ended here, we could have just said, "Oh," and they lived happily ever after or whatever. But it didn't, and which I'm glad for because it was a great franchise. But yeah, their unfortunately their marriage was killed.
Yep. But I think it was a decent I think it was a decent ending. I mean, uh, you had that moment when the bad guy arose and tried to do stuff again, and um, you know you had the stupid Keystone cops. You know, whenever it comes to action movies, I love it better when they actually make the cops look like fools, because half the time they are.
Yep.
And
Um.
that's saying that goes to real life cops too. Half the time they're bumbling fools.
Yep. So well, let's go in favorite scenes and um favorite characters. Um. Uh. Tammy, what's your favorite scenes and favorite characters?
Let's see. It's kind of hard. Well, of course, Bruce Willis's character is my favorite character.
Okay, John McClane.
Logically.
In the scene, though, there was a lot of really good ones, especially like a lot of good spit owls in there. Um, I guess if I had to pick one,
Well, you can pick a couple if you want.
um, well, I like it was more towards the end when he jumped off the roof and he had the hose
Yep.
wrapped around him, and you're sitting there going, the thing starts moving. I'm like, oh my god, this is he's gonna fall, you know. That one was kind of intense because I really thought that that thing was just gonna let loose.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, and the big spit out, that big explosion. That was cool. Oh, he said
Yeah,
that.
Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely great. What about you, Boris?
I actually have to pretty much agree with Tammy. My favorite character is also Bruce Willis. I mean, it's kind of difficult to choose anyone else as the favorite. Okay, the cop Al, he was also good.
Yeah, that was great.
Uh, yeah. Uh, and favorite scenes, yeah, definitely the Spoodaus. And yeah, also the one when he was jumping off with the hose and the explosions happening around him. And yeah, that one when he threw that bomb or whatever it was that caused that major explosion inside the building. That was great too.
I agree. And Dave, what about you?
Uh, I would have to say Bruce Willis is my favorite character. As far as favorite scenes, I, I actually kind of I have to say some of my favorite scenes are those in between him conversations in between him and Al, because it seemed like they seemed to hit it off. Um, this picture has been pitched as Rambo in an office building. Did you know that?
Yeah,
Anyways, as far as favorite scenes, I have to say that my favorite scene would probably have to be the moment of uh, when Hans Gruber actually said shoot the glass, um, and he had to scramble around, and then I do think that when he strapped when Bruce Willis character John McClane strapped that gun to his back when he was only down to the two bullets. That was fucking brilliant, you know.
yeah,
So uh, I mean, there were different
I knew a
moments
business
throughout.
owner, a course corporate, a mentor, a coach.
I mean, even down to the simple fact when the body dropped in the elevator, and Hans Gruber walked up to the thing and read the thing, and the way he read it was kind of funny too, you know.
yeah,
He was like, "This is something else. This isn't the cops." And now we got to tell his brother. So, but yeah, different things with different situations. So yeah, that's about where I am. What about you, Cole?
All right. Well, yes, John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, is my favorite character as well. Yeah, there really isn't too much choice unless you want to choose Hans. Alan Rickman played a great villain. You really, he was just he was really good, really great, and I'd like to say that I'd like to point out him talking to Al was great, but the quips back and forth between him and Hans were equally as great, and the dynamic between the two on the radio was great. There wasn't any really like anger shouting at each other like you would expect from enemies. It was just more of witty banter. I really enjoyed that, and it was nice in the middle of a action movie. You had this witty banter between the two enemies, and then you had the buddy cop banter between him and Al as well. So you had some nice little comedy in there, and of course, as I pointed out, even the dipshit deputy. Deputy Dipshit actually had a funny line, and yeah, I have to. I mean, yeah, the explosion where he throws the computer monitor and everything down the shaft is definitely a great spit out.
That was a
But
good moment.
yeah,
Put out.
the final scene when he's
A one-liner, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
yeah, definitely. Like I already said,
Oh,
that was my
how
favorite
did
one.
I forget that? Damn, yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
that was,
on the edited TV version, they couldn't say motherfucker on there, but I remember that
Ah,
happening, and then he actually said it in the game, which I thought was priceless. So
wow, that's shocking.
yeah,
But yeah, that was
censorship
that
should rot in hell.
that was definitely a great scene. And yeah, the end. My favorite is definitely when he gets the hose and jumped off the building, and he's just missed being shot at by the FBI dudes, and then the whole entire roof blows up as he's jumping. So yeah, that's pretty fucking badass scene right there. You can't deny that, and definitely is
oh,
there was a lot of great explosions and great scenes throughout the whole movie.
forget
But
one of the final lines by his limo driver, Argyle. If this is how their Christmas is, I want to be back for New Year's.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If this is their Christmas, I want to see New Year's Eve. That was great. He still ends up giving them a ride too.
Yep,
Yeah, Argyle is a pretty cool character.
I think so. I mean, there were definitely some interesting characters throughout. Like, I didn't realize that was that Theo, the computer guy, was the guy from Walker, which he lasted 8 seasons of Walker. So
Oh, did he?
yeah,
Cool.
Oh yeah, by the way, a funny thing I just remembered. Uh, yeah, on one of our Croatian TV channels, there is a TV show, German or Austrian, I'm not sure. It's called Der Berg Doctor, or in English, The Mountain Doctor. And the main character's brother in that show is hello, what was that? Hello?
I hear you.
Okay, I just heard some strange noise. Uh, so, what I was saying, on that show, the main character's brother is also named Hans Gruber. And when I heard that name in this movie, I almost pissed myself laughing. Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, what's going on here?
what do you mean?
I don't know. First, while I was talking, I heard some strange noise. Then you all went quiet. I thought I was having some technical glitches or something.
Nope,
I
nothing.
didn't hear the noise you heard, and I think we were quiet because we didn't have anything to say.
Nope.
Ah, okay.
I know I heard Tammy do something. I just didn't know what.
It wasn't me, David. It was you.
Oh well. As
Because
anyway,
right when he was saying he heard the noise, I was muted, so it wasn't from me.
okay. Well, we're still live, so let's not let the audience know everything. So
Okay, you can leave something up to imagination.
yep. You were saying, Boris?
I think I said everything I was going to say.
Okay. Well, hopefully you folks out there have enjoyed our discussion on Die Hard. Um, I'm looking forward to if we end up talking about the Die Hard series. Now we can talk about any of the rest in the series. I mean, not every single one of them. I think begins on Christmas Eve, like this one. But this one is known specifically for that nature, and hopefully like, share, and subscribe, and let us know down in the comments whether you what you thought of the film and our discussion. And who's next here after Kroll? Is it me?
It's me.
I,
Okay, it's you. And
there are two types of people. There's one type of people.
have you chosen a film for next week, dearie?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go totally off the wall of everything here. We're gonna do Xanadu.
Okay,
oh, interesting.
Xanadu?
Xanadu.
Yes.
Wow.
XANADU,
Nice.
I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
Have you ever heard of it?
Yes.
Okay.
yes, believe me or
Have
not,
any of you
yes.
seen Have any of you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Yes, I have.
Okay. Well,
Didn't expect that from me, did you?
I have not. So when she suggested it, I was like, well, it'll be interesting since I have not seen it as of yet. But
Have
we'll
you
be
at
back.
least heard the theme song?
Nope, I have not.
If I saw it, it was a long time ago. So
But in any case, so we'll be back next week to talk about Xanadu. And then am I after you, Tammy?
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
yes.
Then I think we will do the movie that I was originally going to talk about, called Safe House. So if any of you need a copy of the movie, let me know. I will try to track down my copy. If not, it's with Patrick Stewart in it, from Patrick Stewart and Kimberly Williams. So, if you're looking for it. So
Well, I don't know about Philip. He probably does not know his next movie, but I also know my next movie as well, and I'm pretty sure nobody here has seen it.
Which one is it?
Aquaman 2.
nope,
no,
I
we
have
haven't
not
seen
seen
it
it.
yet, but I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see it.
And
Aquaman 2.
honestly,
I saw it
to be
in
honest,
theaters a while ago.
I want to see Jason.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Boris?
I saw Aquaman 2 in theaters a while
Oh, you
ago.
did. Oh, you did. Okay. Well, don't spoil it for us.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I want to see Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, so you, Crow, haven't seen it either.
No, I have not seen it.
I
Alrighty.
must admit I didn't expect that from you, but okay.
I haven't watched anything besides the one movie we do a week all year.
Oh.
No TV shows, nothing. I took a break from video games and TV shows and movies.
Okay.
well, I've been binging Seinfeld myself.
What?
I've been binging Seinfeld myself.
Okay, David, wrap this up so that we can talk not on the air.
Yep. So everyone say good night, and we'll see you next week.
Good day. I say good day.
Good night, everyone.